Okay, it is now 6:26. I would like to call the meeting of the Eastern Essex District Department of Veterans Services to order. I thank everyone for coming on this Wednesday night. We have a good agenda of items to talk about. And with that, why don't we just kick it right off? The first item on the agenda is citizens inquiry. I don't think we have any tonight, so we'll skip to the next item, which is minutes. Steve, you were kind enough to get some minutes around. Did everyone have a chance to look at them? Were there any pushback on the minutes?
I think Cindy did an amazing job as always.
Here, 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 here.
So I'll move to approve the minutes of February 12th.
I'll second that. Could I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye. Are we all up to date on minutes posting?
We posted all that we were approved, so everything that was approved, we posted right now. Yes.
Yeah, if I may, because a couple of the executive sessions, did we get those all? We don't have,
I don't think, we have to have another executive session to approve executive session minutes, right?
right, but are they written?
That I don't know.
I think
Okay,
we went through, instead, we tried to track down the person who took notes. And then Steve was kind enough to use the artificial intelligence to get a deck, but officially we still need to approve, I believe, one or two, Steve, one.
Just that one,
Just that
because
one.
it had someone named Tom, I believe, in it, and I wasn't here for it. Remember, you said it was a little funky.
So I just want to
Go ahead, Linda. I'm
track
sorry.
what you just said. So you said, say that again about the AI.
So we couldn't track down the person who took the physical notes, but there was a recording and
We transcribed it.
transcribed it via using artificial
For an
intelligence.
executive session?
No,
Oh,
it was Karen Bell was here
Yeah.
before I was here. She is MIA, so instead of trying to find the minutes because she took the minutes, we just put that whole video into AI and transcribed.
yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you talking about an executive session that was recorded?
Nope, that was right.
It was a
Oh,
regular session.
okay, all right, so we were just talking about executive session. and
Oh, no, yeah. No, that was the only one we were talking that was missing, I believe.
Right, the missing,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was the missing one.
Yeah.
Executive session, I think we're pretty caught up on, aren't we? Cindy, do we
I didn't
have
get
any?
any.
I didn't have any, but there were a couple of meetings that I had missed, so.
Let's look, I will look into the executive session ones, because I believe the last one, you took notes, Linda,
I wasn't there.
and then
Did I send them to you?
I would look through my,
Yeah.
that will be on my to-do list.
Yeah, okay.
Because we need an executive session, to your point, to approve the minutes that were taken in the executive session.
That's my end. Right, so these are approved and we'll get this.
We'll post these. All right.
Okay, unfortunately Karen is not well tonight. Financials, anecdotally, any reports, Steve? I know the warrants procedure has been moving smoothly.
Yeah.
Any update on financials?
No, we're good. So I think we're 30,000 above, of our budget actually, so very nice. The only thing I know there was a little, so with the fishing trips, even though it's not till June when the new budget takes over, we still had to put down a deposit. So that was where for the transaction report, so we had to put down $1,912.50. But she said she's gonna be able to finagle that because technically.
you can carry that into the next fiscal year and pay it back.
Yeah,
There's a process to do that.
Right, but this is, even though since the trip is June 9th anyway, which will be the new budget season anyway, it's not gonna really screw up
I think
anything.
it's July. The new year start. not
Yeah.
July.
Oh, is it July? Oh, I thought it was June, but anyway,
Fishing trip, help me.
June 9th and August 19th,
Okay,
yeah,
so one will be this year and one will be.
right, right.
And I'm signed up.
Yes, you are.
And a good buddy of mine too.
Yes.
Another veteran.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So yeah, so we have, I think, like 2 spots off.
And if you need our spots.
Oh, no, sorry, no, because we have a whole nother vote.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So the Veterans Memorial Walkway as well, so that was the $500 that we sponsored a paver.
The paper, right?
So that's on the expenses thing. And, yeah, the $700 postage, that we all agreed on for certain areas. So the Ipswich breakfast that we did, the Georgetown mail outs, all of that. But all those, like I said, it's covered, we are in good standings, from the reports.
Good. So, there's no, imminent financial needs from the office. The budget is flowing well, and, Karen is, you're working closely with Karen on the Ps and Qs of the date, of the month-to-month and the date.
Broad.
Probably not a good question to ask because she's not here, but did we talk any more about the kickback? Are we gonna do kickbacks to the towns? I'm just.
That's something for you all to
As a
discuss.
financial, kickback is not the right.
Yeah,
Whatever.
a surplus.
It's a surplus.
So
I'm always accused, I'm always accused of that.
So I'm gonna bring up some ideas with some of that as well, during my report, so.
Okay, so Steve, we're stealing your thunder. We're gonna talk about one of these sort of weaved in items with surplus and what our strategy. Great. Okay, so we're in good state with financials, nothing imminent, nothing, and you're gonna touch on some other stuff in your report.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No surprises. Coming to the end of the year, no.
Unexpected
Financial,
expenses.
yeah,
You're tracking to budget for a year end.
right.
Oh, so for our budget that we've already approved? You mean, that we've already?
Takes us through, and highlights.
Yeah, no, we have no big surprise.
Okay, so we're on track.
And that's, listen, Karen usually does it,
Yeah.
very, that's what I read from the balance sheet, the income statement.
Yeah, no, everything, like I said, we're 30,000, above of what our budget's 150, we're 190 right now, so we have $30,000 extra in the end.
Okay.
For this, yeah. So we're good.
Great. And I'm sure Karen will be back on her feet, we'll get a full accounting of the accounting.
Yeah, I looked through this over the last few days.
Anything else on financials or financial matters outside of what Steve wants to talk about? Any other questions, guys? Chairman's report. I usually like to just kick it off and then go round robin. Essex, our big focus is we have our Memorial Day coming up. We are struggling with the same thing that you guys are. We have an older, very dedicated crew. And then we have, how do you get a hold of the younger guys? How do you talk to them? And that's very different. Sometimes the organizers don't even, they're struggling with, how to reach out electronically. So we have some younger guys and we're trying to put a little core together to try and, sort of get some folks in there. And, what we found is there's a lot of younger folks that just would like to be brought in and talk about the process and participate one way or the other. It's just getting that language and getting the message out. So the same thing you guys are struggling out with benefits and surpluses and things like that. We are living a little bit of it. So we're trying, we're taking a page out of your book. But yeah, we have the big focus is on Memorial Day, which is in good shape. And it should be a great event in Essex. Do you guys want to go around and just talk about how the town's doing?
We passed the HERO Act in the town meeting. And I mean, we already had done the exemptions, but what we did was we were able to just write it as it was written. I think you sent it to me.
I did, I sent you.
And yeah, and I think they used it, the verbiage almost identical. So, we got the cost of living increases going and it passed with flying colors, and so I'm really proud of that, and I'm happy that happened.
Gave you guys a nice shout out, so.
Yeah, you did.
I called the assessor right after just to check. I'm like, hey, Dana just said, she's like, yes, no, it's all
That's
passed.
awesome.
Oh, you didn't trust me?
I just wanted to, hey,
And I want to talk a little bit about Memorial Day also, and it's like, I've talked to this group before, and you mentioned about a veterans, like a committee, and we are, what did you call it?
So there's different, so your veterans, like Raleigh Veterans Committee?
Yeah, we don't have a committee.
Right.
And that's something that I need to work on.
So he's the
And-
Raleigh, so he's the best.
Yeah, and I would like to, through our select board and everything, is create a veterans committee. And it's so we can, we can invite people to those meetings and get in, because I have a really hard time getting input from our veterans because of the communication issues and everything else. And without a committee, you can't make that happen, so.
So don't reinvent the wheel, I have everything, it started in Wenham, and so I'm street level, the local guy.
Yeah.
So I field all the questions from town hall, when a veteran walks in, I talk to them around town. I do that, I work closely with Steve and Tony, taking things back and forth.
Sure.
So, I also have some new news. So I was appointed to a state level committee, an advisory committee on veterans' quality of life.
Good for you, Bob.
So Senator Tara appointed me to the committee and we're looking at all of these things. So I wanted to put that out to everybody because we're looking at housing, food insecurities, education, job training, employment outreach, healthcare, VA benefits, and we have to put a report forward to the governor at the end of the year. We were supposed to do it December, but we didn't get meeting. We've had 2 meetings thus far. So outreach is the number one big thing came out of the last meeting.
Sure.
It's how to reach the new veterans.
Is your schedule, you publish your schedule someplace, like on the Raleigh website or something, about what,
I
Right,
think you're talking about the state group.
the state.
The
group.
state.
I mean, the meetings, is it?
So the meetings at the local level town committee, we don't meet all the time. We might meet 4 times a year.
Yeah, quarterly.
It's how much work there is or what we're up to.
Like
Like
he created a Facebook account.
I've got a Facebook page, the Town of Raleigh Veterans Committee. I'm posting
Okay,
all that
I'll
stuff
jump
on
on
it.
that, yeah,
Then
okay,
I kick it over to Raleigh Talks and they post all that stuff,
It's a community.
yeah,
So it's just doing more outreach.
I would appreciate the help with that.
Right, so.
But it takes dedicated people within.
Reach out, I'll find.
Just like Salem, we have Salem Veterans Council.
Right,
I'll find the charter and give it to you, you can just, it's cut and paste and copy
right,
and do
And
that.
I think that's the way we probably need to evolve in my town. We have a crew of, you'll, come over for coffee anytime, guys.
Dave, can't remember his name, but,
The singing Marine?
yeah,
Dave Mitchell, yeah.
yeah, good guy, he's a guy that should be. The other thing I found out from
And
my,
Walter Rich is also.
yeah, the other thing I found out from the last meeting is that, talking about the HERO Act and great, we only accepted the cost of living increase, we didn't accept the whole act because of the budget things, but I think Ipswich took
We
it,
did.
you took it, and
Yeah.
who else? There was-
Georgetown?
Georgetown, so there were 3 out of the 6 that took it. One of the members last meeting announced that BU has actually done a study about how much the town gets back from the veteran for what they give them under the. So for every dollar you give your veteran, you get about $10 back in the town in revenue. I'm gonna get that, and when I get it, that study from BU, I'll forward it, so you can all use it at your board meetings to say, this is a good thing to do, and this is why it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
well, I've been promoting all of your, you guys, chapter 115 and all of your advancements that you've done with that, and because of that, we get more back from the state, so I
I can't tell you how many new chapter 115s from Newbury. You guys had what? When we started, I think you had 3 or 2 in Newbury.
Okay.
We've, within the last 2 months, we've gotten 4 or 5 new Newbury chapter 115. So, I mean, it's just on Newbury alone.
Let's
I
say it
feel
out
it's
loud. The economic pressure
Yeah.
on the vets is, I think it's doubled.
it's incredible.
And the older population, of which a lot of the vets I'm speaking of, I think it's doubled in the last 2-3 years.
But
How do I get signed up for pharmacy, the pharmacy
Yeah.
program? How do I do this?
it's more of, people are seeing our videos. A couple of new recipients have told their friends in Newbury, and then they so happen to be eligible as well. So it's just been, it's been amazing.
And I try and like all of your stuff, so
Yeah.
that everybody that follows me sees that, what you're doing here and everything else, so it's.
So the other thing I did with my committee, because of the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary, I went back to the town and I said, the select board, I said, because you have to be a veteran to be on the voting member on the committee, I said, I want to have auxiliary members. The two people that run, the husband and wife team that run my Lease Across America program,
Amazing,
not veterans.
amazing people.
But they're
Amazing.
auxiliary, you can have
They're
auxiliary.
auxiliary.
Yeah.
So
I believe firmly in giving them ownership. I want them to be able to say when they're dealing with the program that I'm a member of the veterans community.
Sure.
They don't have to be a veteran, but they're still a member.
Well, that's
They
like
just
the
don't
old
vote.
VFW, there was auxiliary VFW and then VFW.
Exactly, give them ownership, because they run that whole program.
Sure,
Tammy Garen and her husband,
sure.
she does all my, posting for outreach, puts flyers together. We're gonna do a thing on June 14th, Flag Day. We're gonna burn the flags, we're gonna do it with the Boy
Sure.
Scout
Yeah, well,
flag.
hopefully,
We're gonna put them
Well,
away.
you should.
we're gonna retire.
We're gonna retire.
Retire.
Yes, we're gonna retire.
You know, reiterate that.
We're gonna dispose of the original
What
problem.
day are you doing that?
Reiterate.
Like that.
Like that.
At the fire departments, we'll get all the scouts
I
in
need to
there.
know, I need to know what time, I got a whole bunch to bring to you.
There's a box, you can bring it to me, there's a box at the fire station, there's a box at town.
We
hall.
have boxes at our fire
We
stations.
we don't have anything.
Right, and we're gonna purchased the real box, we're putting it up. at the fire
Nice.
station.
Yeah, we have like, it looks like a mailbox.
Looks
but right.
Right, we tried to get a mailbox, you can't get it, so we actually had to buy them, it's $1,000.
You bought like a metal box
Yeah,
spot?
regular,
yeah,
yeah, box, all
We have a
decorated,
real mailbox.
Tammy's,
Huh,
Tammy's
And you just,
daughter,
you open the door, you.
Yeah, the retired ones.
It's one of the VFW here.
oh, is there?
Yeah, spray can red.
yeah.
I have one last thing to say, and then I'm gonna take it
Ah,
over
yeah,
to my
please.
son.
It's all
No,
good
well,
stuff.
I'm up for reelection on Tuesday.
Good luck.
Oh,
Good luck.
I see the signs everywhere.
If I don't get reelected, I may or may not get reappointed
Yeah,
to this job, so.
that's what Doug thought too. Doug was scared too.
But we'll see, but just keep your fingers crossed, you may not even want me here.
I was hoping you if I lived in Newbury, but I don't.
But anyway,
Oh, good luck.
I wish you great success.
Thank you.
I'll be an
Break 'em
auxiliary
out.
in Newbury
Break 'em
first
out.
year.
yeah,
All the signs up counted, I think you're good.
so believe it or not, that means I've been here for 3 years now.
Ah.
Isn't that the irony times?
Yeah, it seems like I just got here yesterday. Ron, so
Ron,
you got the.
What do you got?
Steve and I tried to get ours passed, we couldn't, our assessor is right field.
Yeah.
So, well, we did get the cost of living voted upon, but they already gave us, like, we were always getting more than the original one before the Heroes Act came, so I really can't complain, but it's still off.
I've seen that.
Yeah, because they have that 5.5C piece and with the, it's just an assessor's nightmare, so we tried.
Even though it was never adopted officially.
Yeah, it was never, they voted on it, but they never officially adopted it, and then a few years later, and then
It's on all
I asked
websites.
questions, and I think my select board is gonna beat me to death about something, you know, they've
Ugh.
got it out for me now, so.
That's like a midnight, sounds like a midnight meeting.
Yeah, it does, but I got them outgunned, so it'll be all right. But anyways, they, you know, it's just one of those things, but good people trying to do good things, so they're all doing well. We got Memorial Day, you know, we got ours coming too. I gotta get with them. I'll bring this to them tomorrow and chat with them, because I was away. I didn't even.
I sent them the new list, don't worry.
Yeah, because I didn't have, she never sent me the meeting.
I sent-
I went through all my emails. I got on Fort Bragg a lot. Best place to be. Because
They
they renamed,
renamed it.
well, because they named Fort Bragg after a World War II,
I know.
World Silver Star recipient. They did Fort Benning. They found another Silver Star recipient and
Okay.
named it back to Fort Benning. And, everybody's happy now.
Yeah.
So it's all good. But, that's all I have. Everything I have, Steve. I call here all the time. I drive them crazy. I
That-
West Newbury gets our money's worth out of Steve and Tony for sure, so.
Are you gonna have the same parade this year, the same kind
Yeah,
of
they
parade?
have the same kind every year.
I'm
Miata?
can I ride in the car with
I was
Steve?
in the
Yeah,
Miata.
yeah, you guys have a parade this year?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I gotta find out.
Yeah, the town does it, I mean, all the
Well, we
employees,
do,
yeah, they,
half of our time.
yeah, they do it all, I mean, the veterans, like you say, it's just hard getting the veterans, I was the same older ones, I mean, that actually get on the float and go. I think I'm the youngest one, and that's pretty sad, at 62 years old.
Well, it's
Oh,
it's what we're struggling
I'm the youngest one, I mean, it's tough, I mean, it really, it
Look at
really
the
is.
VFWs.
I mean, it's really hard, we have the breakfast and everything again, I gotta brag, but I mean, you know, it gets good and then it. You know, for 158 people, veterans in our town, you wouldn't know it.
Sure.
And they do they do a lot, there is a lot of outreach and there's a lot of try for it. But I mean, at least they're getting the benefits and the things that they should be getting, except for the farm, right?
I stopped, I was about
You
to,
did?
I still no, I tried to find.
Yeah, I'll go,
He's
I'll go
awesome.
try to
I
see.
saw him walking, he's got a walker. I saw army hat, so it's raining, I pull over in the pouring rain. I'm like, hey, you need a ride? And he's just so happened to be 5 feet away from his barber shop. And he's like, come on in, so he brings me in. He's great.
He's a great guy, yeah.
He's the barber in.
Yeah, I saw him walking.
He is, West Newbury,
I
yeah.
saw him walking with a veteran hat on, so no, man, my hair soft,
Yeah.
I felt bad.
Is he a good barber?
And then,
He is, he's just very sickly, he's
yeah,
like.
he's
Oh,
frail, he's frail,
He's very frail. There's two of them there. He's a very sweet guy.
We're in a moment.
I wish Doug was here. I used to drive all the way over to Gino in Georgetown. He was famous and he was. At the end, he sort of came down to 1 or 2 haircuts he liked to do, but
Yeah.
he was just worth the stories,
Yeah.
worth the trip, so priceless.
It's great. You can still come. There's a Kim, she's there on Tuesdays, Thursdays and
Okay.
Saturdays. She's sweet. But other than that, that's all we got from the center. Appreciate it.
No parade this year for us, just a small ceremony on the common for Memorial Day. We are working on a, parade policy.
Mhm.
And the selectmen got a rough drafted up and just a few refinements, but we had no policy and just the times, we needed a policy on the parade.
Sure.
And so we're just trying to finish that up, but same thing, trying to get veterans out to same veterans and trying to move them to participate. We'll put the flags in the graves the Saturday before.
Yeah.
And that's it. And, if anybody has any thought, ideas or anything on this committee that I'm on, please forward them through to Steve or so I can say. I don't think we really have a homeless problem in our communities with veterans. I don't see that.
So, but they're also moving from other states and they're becoming.
Yeah,
Because they're not residents.
yeah. And the other thing too is, there is a list, the VSO gets it, of the people getting out of the service, I believe.
Okay.
So we're gonna look at outreach to those new
Sure.
people that are getting out of the service and introduce them to Steve and
Sure.
say, you know, these services are all available. And good stuff.
We've actually started, so Corey, who runs the committee that he's on, he works for the executive office of veteran services, I know him well. They just started sending us every month, a whole list of every discharged veteran in the whole state. So we can scroll down our spreadsheet to our towns and be like, all right, and it has an address. Tony and I have been sending out letters to these veterans, on letterhead, professional letterhead stating, hey, we're here for your benefit needs. So we're sending out, getting that initial, right when they get out is the important, that's the important stuff, getting through, training, TAPS, training assistance programs, everything. So we have been sending out letters to the newly discharged veterans because of that new list that they're sending.
Could the town committees piggyback off that and say, invite them to a coffee or something, or with your support, Steve? What's the right protocol for, for bringing it even more local, to the towns?
So we're sending out letters right now, I mean, just letting them know we are here for them.
Sure.
I mean, but we did have to take this like security training before they
Sure.
sent this out, because we can't just start giving out.
No, but like, could the town say, like, could Ipswich say once a year, hey, come meet the vets, coffee or something? Could you send a letter out?
Oh, yeah, no,
very
that's-
locally, and, we'll do the coffee and the donuts, and, you get 10 or you get 2. that
Like,
might
we
be a
just
win.
got today, we just got the April report today, and we had 0, out of all of our towns, we had 0. But,
You had 0 new discharges.
yeah, out of
Okay.
all of our towns, there's
So
about
maybe-
168, I think, total in the state. But yeah, none of our towns we had, last month we had 2, but yeah, it's hit or miss.
So maybe you let a year or so go up, and then you
And is
Yeah.
that-
build it up. I'm sorry, Lynn.
Is that something that the veteran would have to voluntarily sign up for?
No, so the military is automatically doing that with the executive office of veteran services, they get all of that.
The VA sends it to the executive office, and
Yeah.
the executive office is there with him.
Yeah,
Just like
what I'm
DD
wondering is
214.
If somebody getting out, if they don't want their information, no, that's what.
There's no,
Well, then that's.
what's it called?
Opt out.
No opt-out,
Right,
right?
yeah, no,
There's no
there's-
law.
The military's not good on opt-out.
But that's the thing, I mean, they can either say, all right, I want VA services, which,
Right.
or, you know, but we are giving that option, like, hey, we are here if you have any questions regarding.
Sure.
So when we leave the service, there's a program called TAPS, Tuition
Right.
Assistance Program, that we're all supposed to go to. But I would say, I don't know, kind of leaving 50% of the people go to it.
No, for the army, it's
Mandatory.
100%
Yeah,
mandatory.
mandatory.
Didn't matter your rank,
Yeah.
you had to be a relative, yeah.
What about the reserves? They,
Well, for active
That's the-
duty, you know, it was 100%.
yeah, it's not like that in Coast Guard.
Like a transitional.
Yeah, you have no
Yeah,
other
just
choice,
once you
you
get through
have
all
to
the
go, you
certifications.
have to go through it.
Resident building, drug.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got all that, yeah.
Yeah, the 2 or 3 day course, you have to go to
And
it.
so I was at Wall Street Army Hospital and I had lining off,
Now, it's,
they had
now
people
it's
coming
now
to
it's
me.
2 weeks.
to my
long.
hospital.
The army for the active duty, it's
No
two,
kidding.
2 weeks long,
I
they
am
do
not kidding.
everything, and then they have hired the heroes program where when they're transitioning, before they transition, they can go work for
Yeah,
Fortune 500 companies while they're still in the army,
Yeah.
and they got all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
I think, I went to the academy, but, you know, it's funny, I just got a call from a petty officer that worked for me down in New Orleans. She lives in Hawaii. She called me up and asked me how to get, she's trying to file a claim.
Yeah.
She's calling me.
526 easy,
I'm like,
526 easy, baby.
well, I haven't walked through it. I almost said, yeah, I got this guy, Steve Bond.
Oh, that's handy, man. I'm a national civil service officer, so I can legally file claims for anyone in the country.
I told her what to do and how to do it, and call me if you need help, and
File a claim for my buddy. Hey, he's actually the one who pulled me out of the wall.
By the way, I'll be in Hawaii in a couple months.
Oh,
How about hosting?
Oh, that's me as
It's
a
box
giant.
set.
I got a kick out of it, I'll wait until I.
Okay, Linda, do you have anything else to add or?
Yeah,
local stuff?
so Ipswich also is doing Memorial Day. We're not having a parade. We're gonna have an assembly like we've done the last few
Yeah,
years.
that's what we-
For Memorial, it'll start at 11, and those of us that are participating will be there at 10:30. But it's usually a good turnout if the weather is nice, you know, people do come out.
So Larry, to pick up, he's got the proclamation right here. These are the governor's proclamations for Memorial Day.
Oh, good.
So I told Larry, he's gonna come and pick it up. He's gonna read this, so.
And then we also, as was mentioned, the walkway project,
The stones, the engraved stones.
walkway
Yeah.
leading up to the War Memorial. So construction and excavation is due to begin in June. The etched bricks and pavers will be installed in July is the plan.
You sold them all, right?
Well,
I think let's.
we
see.
still have. a
More
couple
than enough. Yeah, I don't know.
Being made right now.
This. It doesn't say.
I thought it was solid, so I couldn't do anything.
Well, I have connections.
We'll get
It was way more than they
A brick?
anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll get you a form, but they need it like tomorrow, or soon.
Yeah. and then August is landscaping, granite benches and bronze plaque will be installed, and September 27th is the hopeful date for the dedication.
Oh, yeah.
So,
The 27th of June or
That's September.
September? Oh, that'd be a nice, that's a nice time of year for.
right. So that is what's going on with that.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for that local color. Again, you know, we have some exciting things going on, but again, I'll echo the thing with inflation. I just see a lot of pressure on the older vets, especially their seniors, and it just you know, Steve, you know, I'm happy that there's a resource for guys that are in the hole, and I think we need to do more locally, like the Hero Act, and you know, we're struggling with how to get our work off program going for veterans, senior veterans and seniors. And that's you know, that's a whole bucket of, so.
Steve, where are you gonna be on Memorial Day?
Georgetown. Okay, did I miss anything? Does anyone want to add anything else to local color, the report? Okay. Steve, I'll turn the next item over to you, the VSO report.
Yeah.
And
So.
we'd love to hear how things are going.
No, everything's going great. So I've been helping out this family. I wish Doug was gonna be here because I didn't know Doug was not gonna be here because we did have this. So I've been helping this family in Georgetown an active duty veteran committed suicide last year, from Georgetown, lived in Virginia, where the base was, but his family still lived in Georgetown. I helped get their benefits, burial, I coordinated with the Navy, the casualty report, because if they commit suicide or they die while on active duty, they don't get a DD 214. They get a casualty report, so that's the form that you need while submitting benefits, you don't get a DD 214. So Seth's office, I helped get all that for his family, helped his family get the annuity, so that his mom and his dad will now be getting $2,500 a year state annuity because their son passed away on active duty. So we got the annuities for both the parents, the family, his kids and his wife, we got them their benefits. They don't live in the state, unfortunately, but I still help them get the VA benefits. So Georgetown's doing a banner program right now. So with the Kiwanis group, the local Kiwanis group, they have hometown hero banners hanging on the light poles. They're really durable, nice. So it has the picture of the veteran. It has a little details on the banner. They hang from the light poles.
I
around
love
town.
that. In West Newbury did that.
Yeah, what's the.
So these are really great. It's a great, it's $150 for a banner. The family.
It's awesome.
I told the family I would like for us to sponsor that $150, so the family wouldn't have to worry about getting
Sure.
deceased.
Sure.
So the $150, they can just work, I don't have to worry about that. So I've been working with the Kiwanis group. We have the picture of the son. The family doesn't know we're gonna be paying for this yet, but I want to surprise them. So, definitely want to get some approval, hopefully from you all for the $150 for the banner for the family.
Can we use that undesignated?
Yeah, uncategorized donations. That's what I was gonna use.
I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah.
That's just my personal, thing, but don't we have some monies there that are
That's-
undesignated at the discretion of the office?
Just need approval from you all. I spoke to Karen Summer already. She's on, $150, obviously.
From that category.
Yep, yes, yeah.
Well,
So I think we all should talk about it, but I think
Yeah.
that, listen, as a small memorial,
Yeah.
home for the family,
Yeah, $150.
That's short money.
Right.
I move that we approve the banner for the family in Georgetown,
using the undesignated.
using the undesignated fund,
His name is Brian Steve.
$150.
The amount of-
I don't want to squelch conversation, but my sense is there's not a lot. Ron, Linda, Bob?
Cool.
All right, so, should we officially vote,
So we need a second, I'll second it.
all in favor of, the, act of the banner and paying for it out of undesignated funds, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks.
Thank you all for approving that. I know the family will definitely appreciate that.
How many do they have? Like 20? Is it gonna be
Oh, we
20?
have, so I actually just went on Vietnam Veterans Day. It was a Saturday, on my day. Went to, Byfield Parish. We had a nice, Vietnam Veterans breakfast.
Oh, sure.
At the Byfield Parish on Saturday. So we had a bunch of them that we unveiled to the crowd, just, yeah, but I believe they have right now, maybe 30. So,
30, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot. We have people calling our office, we have to do records requests because they want to put accurate information on these banners. So we're doing a lot of record requests with the National Personnel Record Center because of that project in Georgetown, which I mean, you know.
That's a really nice addition, those
Yeah.
banner hangers
Yeah.
they have on there.
So they're gonna hang them from Veterans Memorial Day to Veterans Day. They're gonna obviously take them down in the winter, so they don't get ruined, but they're very nice, durable, thick, I want to fade. That's gonna be a great, yeah, project. And I appreciate you guys supporting us on.
So that program was run through the Kiwanis Club?
Yeah,
is it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So if we want to find out more information about it, like. is it through
The
the-
Hometown Heroes, it's called, yeah, Kiwanis.
And Linda, I have unofficial insight. This is in Georgetown, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my mother-in-law, who passed away, was a big pusher for the actual, when they put the lamp house up, this, how about having these hangers, you can change the banners? And that's you have to have the light posts made with the banner hangers. These two, almost poles that stick
Yeah.
out, so you can, and they've done it, floral things, and they've done Fourth of July things, but that's the secret, you gotta get those, You gotta get them installed or ordered with.
So Ipswich will be having, and I think Raleigh does this too, the Rotary sponsors the Flags for Heroes,
Sure.
and that's coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not military, it's any kind of heroes. So, you know, it's a beautiful display on the South Green
Sure.
flag, so it's probably a similar type thing.
I'm in Rotary and we're already talking about plans of trying to have it up by Memorial Day. I forget when it's coming down. I have to look.
It was up a while.
I think it's on Ipswich days.
It was up for quite a while last
I know.
year.
They
remember
take
that.
it down with Ipswich days though, don't they?
Well, you.
Oh, yeah, it has to be down for Old Ipswich.
Yeah,
Which is one of my favorite
So
events.
it might be 4th of July or something.
Yeah.
It seems to me it's gonna be over a month.
I just saw it today,
Yeah.
actually, so it says Ipswich and Raleigh displays will be May 24th through July 6th.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
Yeah.
and I thought they did it in Ipswich first and then moved it to Raleigh, but it sounds like they're. gonna
Yeah,
do
we
it
did this
simultaneously
time,
now.
this year, they're planning to do both.
That's great.
Yeah,
Together.
yeah, so what they did, I think, is they just do it along Main Street. They don't do it around the whole thing, so
Yeah.
fewer flags, they want more flags, so they
Yeah.
can do it both
Yeah.
together.
Oh, that's great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got, Steve?
so, next thing on the agenda, alright, so I did some digging, and this is on me, because I didn't properly do the digging I should have on the previous salaries for the assistant. So we were looking back to, one of the, they were making $35 an hour. $35. Tony's making $25.50 right.
The former assistant, I'm sorry, the
Yeah.
former assistants were making 35.
Right.
Okay.
Before, I guess, when Hamilton and Wenham left. Yeah,
No, I don't recall that.
yeah, no, it's in the budget.
Was that the?
Before the panic, I guess, and then people
You're
panicked.
going back to when we had a full-time assistant,
Right, and which
Well,
was,
which that was before my time, actually.
Yeah.
Was it the AVSO? Who, I don't wanna use a name, but what was the title of the person, just so it, cause there was an AVSO, very skilled assistant VSO.
Right,
Well, it's killing me,
Kathy.
Bob.
Kathy,
who was the vet,
who was a veteran?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kathy Bones.
who was the
I
vet?
didn't recall her making $35.
Yeah, we looked back and the budget was 35, and then Hamilton Wenham left, you guys panicked, I guess, had people.
Right, I came
Part-time,
in.
and then it drops to 25. And let's just be realistic though, I mean, so what we did approve 48,230 for his salary for the year. Like living in Massachusetts, that's just not feasible, I mean, it's living in a one-bedroom apartment, especially in Salem, that's just, it's crazy. And I think we should definitely right this wrong in some way. Not saying the full. I'm not saying the full $35 an hour, but we also want to be realistic, obviously, but we want to be reasonable.
So Steve, historically, we've let the VSO, correct me if I'm wrong, drive the evaluation and the payment within budget of the assistant, slash AVSO, whatever that title is.
Okay.
What are you asking for?
I want to, get them up to about 55 right now, 60, I think would be reasonable. I mean, what do you think?
Oh, come over to the big table.
He hurt his back, so.
Oh, okay, oh, no, Tony, don't.
What would that bring his hourly figure to instead of the? You wanna go to 55 or 60?
Right, so right now, he's 25.50,
25.
and that would be, so 20, we added the extra hour, so that would be 26.50 would be the 48,230 for 26.50.
Right.
So with 55.60, there'd probably be, I would say roughly, maybe
I didn't do that.
29.30, I think was what I did, yeah.
So what was it again? What are you looking for?
So with $30,
$30 an hour is what he was talking.
$30.
so 26,
Times how many hours a week?
70.
Times
70, 80.
70, so it's,
We can do
sorry.
that.
No, I'm used to hitting when I put in the pay,
Child labor services.
35 a week, 35 a week.
Yeah,
When I put in this pay, I click 70.
You got me confused.
So 35 a week.
So
VSO report.
So Steve, I think we are in agree, I hear you.
Yeah.
We need to have an executive session after this meeting to talk about this.
Mhm.
I think I would like, since, this is probably something for the new fiscal year, which is shortly away.
Mhm.
I would suggest we have an bring this into the executive session as we talk about.
That's why, yeah, no, that's why I'm gonna bring it.
So formally though, just to crystallize it, your request is for Tony to be at 35 hours at $30 an hour. And Tony, what are you at now? I'm sorry?
25.50.
25.50. And I think that's the most appropriate way to have a candid discussion. But how does the rest of the board feel about
I
it?
just, can I interject something?
Of course.
Okay, so
Brian.
we're in the middle of,
Dave.
we're in the middle
I'm sorry.
of Steve's review process, right?
Yes, we're gonna get to that.
And I think that, I know, I mean, I didn't even think of this before, but I mean, we talked about that, this is your guy. Maybe you should, have him do a self-assessment. And
Oh,
then,
we already
and then-
did.
oh, he's already done it.
Yeah.
And then you've done a review process.
Yeah,
and then-
no,
So David's question is right. There's merit for his performance to do this level. Okay.
So that's all done already.
I've already done his review, I haven't signed it, we did this.
All right, well,
So was the question of, are we the ones, so if we approve a budget, we give him a budget, and he's executing that budget, and since he hires and does all the counseling with Tony, isn't it, are we saying it's upon Steve to say, well, I'm gonna give him X amount of dollars an hour, and this is what I'm gonna pay him, because this is the budget I have available to me, this is how I'm gonna execute the budget.
Yes, however, the parameter is is it within budget, is it without budget of that line item?
Well, and that was the thing, I didn't necessarily, and that, once again, it was my fault, I should have done this research prior, I just didn't go that many years back, because I didn't think I had to.
So,
Once again, it was, I own up
if
to
it
it.
stays within his budget, he can do that, but if it goes outside his budget. And he's gonna come to the towns to ask for additional
Well, no,
funding.
because we.
I
have
know, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm trying to make my point.
Yeah.
So if he stays within the budget, then it's on him to keep it within the budget, whatever he pays Tony.
Yeah.
And as long as it doesn't, it shouldn't come to us unless he says, we don't have enough of the budget to pay this here, I need to come to the towns, then it's for us to vote and discuss and go through.
Discuss really the budget line, that's
Right,
basically the budget
exactly.
line item and where did it come from?
Right, so
Because we've always let Steve just handle the personnel
Right, so-
himself.
it wouldn't be for us to go into an executive session and approve X amount of dollars per hour for Tony. Because Steve takes care of Tony, we take care of Steve, we go in and we talk
Yeah, we
about him,
approve the
right?
budget.
Yeah,
Right.
But it sounds like we need to modify the budget to make this
well,
work.
I was gonna say, we just passed
Right.
26.
Right.
2026 is done.
But like I said, we
Like,
have that surplus, which.
Right.
And we are technically, I think, now going outside this, so I think in all fairness to the rules, a new budget line item discussion should be,
well, that's what
On
I'm
the
asking,
agenda.
is that what we're
Yeah.
trying to do? Yeah, okay.
so Brian, you're exactly right. Historically, the VSO has handled his personnel.
Right.
Supplemental budget,
Yeah,
line item
yeah,
budget.
yeah.
But
So I just want everyone to consider, this is an approximately 20% raise, right? So we,
From 25 to 30 or whatever, but well, it's actually whatever
it's
you
it's about
want.
a 20%.
Well, yeah.
Ron just said go for it.
Well, I know, but if you think about this here,
I hear you.
the
I hear you.
HEROES Act finally went from $1,000 of tax to $2,000 because we've always been behind the power curve and paying or
Yeah, well, that
allocating.
was in alignment with like
Well,
1969.
I agree with that, and then the cost of living, and I think it's something, I know the
Get worse
percentage,
on
I completely understand what you're saying about the
Do you have the
percentage.
money in the budget?
But this is a very costly place to live.
But once again, 60,000.
No, I know,
Alone just with me.
I'm not,
Just saying.
I just, I'm gonna throw, like, it's like 80 or 85,000 right now, you qualify for low income housing.
Alright.
yeah, I mean, I agree.
It's
I get Linda's point when she says, it's 20%, I get that, because you guys deal with your budgets outside.
And we have to go back to our
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
towns,
yeah.
and our staffs are gonna be saying, wow, you know.
Well, 2026 is done, it's
But
done.
these people are getting paid that years.
He has the money in his budget, it's not like we're gonna publish that it's 20%. He has the money in his budget to pay it.
It's gonna be published.
Oh,
We're,
Right,
it's
but-
being recorded.
yeah,
I just think
But-
that we need to
Ron, does-
look at it, yeah.
but, you know, to bring him up to a
Once again,
fair
cost of living.
livable wage.
No, I
That's-
agree, I'm not debating any of that, I agree.
I don't wanna have to have him on chapter 115 working, but that'd be embarrassing, is my point. I'll think that looks good on there. Well, sit there.
So,
So I'm just gonna say that when we're looking at budgets, we should know this ahead of time,
Yeah,
right?
once again, I should have done my
Steve did
research.
acknowledge, so, again,
Once again, I should have
getting
done
put
that.
into
research.
the budgeting process.
Maybe we should enter executive session, not to talk numbers, but to talk a process.
So,
I don't know if that's one of the executive session reasons, there's very specific reasons, but you can talk to Tim Zussin and ask him, you know, if we need to do that.
salary negotiation,
But if.
We're gonna have to do it.
We're not the one negotiating the salary, I think that's Steve.
Steve,
Right. Yeah, I agree, I think that's where I was
His-
kind of getting with my question.
His-
We move him, he does
I
him.
think if Steve, you're looking at this there's a budget
Yeah.
lens, then, you know, if it's gonna be an issue with budgets, then look and see if there's any excess that you can cut to make that up.
Right, yeah, I agree, I
Maybe-
agree.
since we have time
Because we've already
before,
gone back to our towns and said. if
You know, you're absolutely correct.
it's gonna
You're
be
correct.
X,
Yes.
right?
Well, don't towns put supplemental budgets all the time?
Not necessarily,
Not
you saw our
No,
debacle,
yeah.
No,
Well,
so,
no,
I think COA had a supplemental budget put
Those are
in.
during the budget.
yeah, those were in the
process.
budget
Those are
process.
Supplemental requests.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
they have to get approved.
Yeah.
And we're going to town meeting next week with our
Yeah.
budget, so that's. yeah.
so
Yeah.
So
conceptually.
we've already had ours.
Well, that's why I love that we're not just one town, we're an entity, so we're not just one town's rules.
No, we've.
But the processes are similar from my town to their towns, so, you know.
So maybe conceptually, and I'll throw this out for the board discussion. If you could get with Karen and look at the budget hard and see where what a modified budget would look like.
Yeah.
We will make sure that that is discussed and considered appropriately. And the issue is we have to do it before 1 July. So maybe
We really don't,
You know,
because 2026 is done.
money.
Yeah, money's there.
2026 is done.
Yeah.
For, you know, we can actually, he can roll into 2026 and still use that supplemental, you know, whatever he has in excess.
Mhm.
It doesn't really have to be done, I don't think, by the end of the fiscal year, let's put it that way. Because we've already done next fiscal year.
But we're modifying the budget that was approved by the board, and unfortunately, it's not on our agenda here, right? Don't.
No, but the budget's gonna stay the same.
Stay the same.
The budget's gonna stay the same.
We have a surplus that, we don't want all this money given back to the.
But I hate to be the accountant in the room, but we approved a budget with a specific shareholder budget surplus. You know, concept, degradation improvement based upon an income statement. I think, again, I'm not opposed to what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we are modifying the budget by digging into the surplus
Well,
to
that's
do this. Because the shareholder equity was projected based upon our income statement,
That's my point.
right?
Look to see what you can cut
Yeah.
to make up for
Yeah.
it, because we don't want to touch the surplus. That we do have to decide, we vote on that.
Right.
Because he could, you're right, because he could look at the different lines, move this to here, get with Karen and move from here to here, and we'll cover it. And he stays within his budget, he's not overexpended, he's good to go. The surplus, it's exactly as Linda just described
The
it.
surplus
It
is for
stays the
them.
same and all.
But if we have to touch the surplus, so
But I'm
why
not
is that
opposed
such a
to
bad?
touching a little of the surplus.
Yeah,
Well, then I think that, well, as Linda said, that's where we get into the discussion, if
That's a
that's what we're
different
gonna do, that's a different discussion.
But I would ask that we do to your point that you're making, Steve, that we do some more formality with Karen.
Like you said, we're gonna do what we can.
You might
with
be
what the
able, you
budget
might
is
be
now.
able to do it,
But-
you might be able to, and if you can't, then absolutely.
Right.
So question, is there something in the rules that says that you have to produce a surplus to give back to the towns?
No, we're not
No.
talking about that. What we're
No.
talking
No,
about.
but the surplus number has been created already.
We've already.
In the-
If you stick to budget, right, this year.
For fiscal year 2026, the surplus number is in the budget.
Yeah.
30,000 right now. we're-
And so to draw, I think the real question is do we have the authority to draw that down without approval?
That seems a little bit odd, because how do you know something unexpected doesn't come up in 26, and then you've got that surplus, so you can't touch it?
But that's not the discretion of the VSO, that's.
No, no.
That's,
I-
yeah,
I-
no,
I
you can, you
understand, I
can,
understand.
you can touch it, but it comes into the board to discuss it and approve it and
Okay.
then go back and do it, so.
And Bob,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, conceptually, this rings true, I don't wanna, to me, but let's just procedurally be right.
Yeah.
It's no sense.
Yeah,
Yes, no, I agree, I mean, sure.
So,
Okay,
you'll get with
Yeah.
Karen.
Yeah.
And we will talk about potentially a modified or different budget to support this initiative that you're espousing.
We call the fallout money at the end of every
follow me, chief.
Well, Chief, we were told we'd spend all our surplus because we won't get it
I
next
got
year.
into a way too argument, the CO he wanted to buy a big screen TV and other furniture, and I wanted to buy equipment for the reserve. And we got into a big fight,
What did you buy? What else?
equipment for the reserve,
Good.
I wanted.
All right, okay, what else you got, Steve?
We'll just jump into the electronic dimensional outreach.
All right, so you're done with your report? I'm sorry, Linda?
Yeah, so just a question, so we meet quarterly, and Steve, you're really good about, you know, when something comes up, letting us know, which is great, but I'm wondering if we could maybe get like, I don't know, in between our meetings, monthly report.
So that's what I send an annual report, and then we have these meetings, so that's why I was just a little confused on it.
Like a monthly,
No, I know, but that's why like I don't know, what, in a month I can say that, I'm not gonna say it in just 3 months. I mean, things, I guess, that's what I'm
So trying to bring it back to your board, more information
Yeah.
about what's it.
Yeah.
He's looking to bring back more information to her board about what's going on.
No, and I understand that, but so like, I'm sending out the annual report with my plan, right? And then every 3 months, we have these where we go over everything of what we're doing. So that's why I figure when we come to these, that's why people are taking, which we had this conversation. And I was like, can you go to your board? And like, your guys' job is just to just to go to your boards and tell them what we are doing. Like, so at these meetings, like, if I'm not being very clear on what we're doing, I apologize, but.
no, that's not
Yeah.
it. It's like the interim periods, you know, between January and April or whatever, just, you know, a monthly email to us.
I throw it out to Steve because this came up,
Yeah,
where it's gonna come up in his, the summary of the review. One of the only, piece of work is, there was a theme in there, that, I don't wanna get ahead of this, but could we have some interim communication? I said maybe every 6 weeks in between our 3-month board meeting. Yeah, every 6 weeks, a little blurb, you know, paragraph or two about something.
Well, there's an issue with that, and that's the open meeting law, where if we get into a group email chat kind of thing, that we can't.
But he can fire it out, we just can't respond.
You just can't respond, you can't
Well,
hit
I
all.
know.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Well,
All right, I'll send out a little.
I just want to have a conversation with the state.
like at the midpoint,
yeah.
if we don't have a meeting, like, say we don't have a special meeting in between. Is that what you're asking, Linda, just a little more color in between the board
Yeah.
meetings?
Yeah, I think Karen might have done it once or twice, an interim report, like this is what I did this month, or, you know, that kind of thing.
That's, I'll do, there's a lot of
But
reports.
Steve, I'll say this, this, in my mind, and I look for the boards, it should be, you know, little couple bullets, it should take you 15
Yeah.
minutes. It should not get in the way of you doing what you guys are doing,
Right.
which is the most important.
Yeah.
You shouldn't paper the paper, right?
Yeah,
Cut paste.
I'll do bullet points of, achievements, I guess.
Just the few highlights of, you
Yeah.
know, what's going on, that's all,
Yeah.
nothing
They love me to come to the meeting, selectmen's meeting too, and tell them what I'm doing.
That's, yeah.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Steve, you're done, you wanna go to electronic initiatives?
Yes, do you guys have all in front of you on the stats on Facebook?
Okay.
So Tony, you want to start off first with the chapter 115 video stats? Or the hero?
Yeah, yeah, all the videos that we're putting out have been getting a lot of, traction. We've switched from just outreach and getting more people viewing it to actually cashing in and having people actually like our videos so that as we put more out, we don't have to continue paying for people to see them. They'll already have liked our page, they'll already see that information. So in doing that, we've gained about, 170 followers on our Facebook page. It's about 200 followers and then 170 likes. And so these are all people that, as we post videos, Facebook will automatically link them. So, yeah, we've changed from just getting mass viewership to actually having the content that people want to like keep watching.
So
And
if I like your video, if I liked the video you guys made, you guys are charged less by Facebook?
Yeah.
so,
Really?
the way it's working right now is that before we were paying to just get people to watch it.
Yeah.
And then now on the advertised video that has a like our Facebook page. So as people hit that button, the next video that we put out will automatically go to that person and we don't have to pay to get it.
To push it, for the push.
Yes.
Ah.
So as we create more videos, which we have a ton ready, or not ready to go, we have a ton recorded that I just have to edit and we're gonna put them out like however often we do. Then the people we paid for in the past will automatically get those videos in the future. So we've gone from just planting the seeds to kind of like reaping as we're continuing to plant. So we're doing both at the same time.
And then they're sharing, and the other people are sharing, and it's just, it's honestly, it's great.
So the more people share them, that also
Yes.
generates.
And it lowers our, so right now, it was used to be 3 cents for every.
So it originally was 5 cents per view and then it went down to 3 cents per view. And now, so we're not tracking those metrics anymore because that was just getting viewership. Now we're paying per like. So now you can see like for the chapter 115 video, it was $1.44 per like, but that's a person that we're gonna have as an audience member for as long as they continue to like our page.
So I'm sorry, are we still paying for the views or do we switch over to pay for the likes?
So right now we've transitioned to paying for likes.
And that's more economical.
Yeah.
I know none of this, so I'm learning, so thank you.
Kevin had 90 likes total on the old Facebook page.
Okay.
And just with this, we've doubled her.
Yeah, that was the entire old
Yeah.
page. We started at about through the organic portion of it and through paying for viewers. We got to just about 40 and now we're up to 200 with our new system. So it's having the videos that we already have and continuing to post videos, both are paying off now.
Right, but we pay Facebook $1.44 for everyone that says, I like this.
So that's.
Or that's just the metric we're looking at.
Yeah.
That's the metric we're looking at. We still have thousands of viewers per video. We can see like for, on the front page where it says page likes. And then it says thousands of views, thousands of reaches, follows or likes. We're still getting about 8,000 viewers per video. And then of those 8,000 viewers, 53 people have liked the video. So that's adding towards now we have 200 people ready to like any future video to share instead of.
I'm sorry, that's just the metric you're tracking. You
Correct.
could have someone that didn't like your video walk in here the next day
Correct.
and say, I wanna meet this guy Steve, he's got a lot to
Yeah.
show me about. Okay,
Yes,
it's just the metric you're tracking.
yes, exactly.
How many people come in here and ask the movie star?
Yes. Exactly.
I was sitting here today.
Listen to Mel, we're gonna listen to Mel.
It's funny.
The phones all over.
It's amazing. For the chapter 115, we spent $76.17 over 6 days, and we got 5,607 views.
Right.
Like,
And look at the GI Joe video.
Yeah.
Yes.
so that was our latest video we just put out on just the simple application.
Guys, this is so exciting.
The application number, it's one simple form to file to get your certificate of eligibility for a GI Bill. Simple. We broke that down into 2 minutes. We just had a family from Ipswich actually come in because their father transferred his GI Bill benefits that he didn't use. So I helped his son, who's in high school right now, Ipswich High, transfer those GI Bill benefits, so he's getting those. So
Make sure it goes to a school with yellow ribbon.
Oh, no, so if it goes over the cost of that, the yellow ribbon program will take over what the GI Bill doesn't cover. So it's simple.
Yeah.
I did that, I transferred all of my, to my son.
But you have to have multiple terms, so you had to re-enlist it. In order to transfer your GI Bill benefits, you had to have multiple terms of service.
Well, I retired off.
No, exactly, so you had multiple terms of service.
Okay,
So,
you
yeah.
maxed out like I did.
So
We're
just
at the max.
Like I said,
He-
just for that one GI Bill
He got
benefit
4
we
years,
had.
4 years worth of college, and they paid for like 80%.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was incredible.
Good.
So again, this is so, because as I said to Steve earlier, the wedge, I went to a couple funerals this week of friends, veterans. The wedge of the folks who like coffee and the, you know, the coffee and the pastry talks. The older vets are shrinking, and this is the wedge that we're trying to hack with. It's so exciting.
So that's exactly what I wanted to talk more about, is the topic of the video matters, because if you look, it's like, it's kind of hard to see in the black and white here, but the GI Bill video is for the younger demographic. And you can clearly see that age 25 to 34 has a much higher percent than the other two videos, especially the house property video. Like, not a lot of 24 to 35-year-olds have a house, but a lot are using the GI Bill. So you can see that from 25 to 34, it's almost double the others, and 35 to 44, it's a huge margin more for the GI Bill video versus the other video. So
So
it's on-
it speaks to your content.
exactly, so.
What content you're gonna drive.
Exactly, so
Sorry,
we want the younger demographic, we just continue making videos that suit the younger demographic, and we can continue to reach out to those that, like, the younger people, the younger vets.
So our next
So
topic
we-
video will be aid attendance, which is gonna obviously be focused on the elderly. So aid attendance is for nursing home care.
Right.
So that's obviously, we're gonna be driven towards.
You have a like from me.
I got, can we also talk, I got aid in attendance as it references with Mass Health? Like, if someone asked me that question, I'll pass it on.
So no, aid attendance is a VA benefit.
VA
So they pay for in-home health care, or, so you have to determine, and you actually have to pay for it, and you have to have receipts for it in order to be reimbursed for it. So it's not, you can't just go there and say, I have this bill, like, you have to be paid for, and then the VA has to, okay, this was all paid for by you out of pocket, it's out of pocket medical expense, we're gonna reimburse you for it. And then you get retroactive. Yeah, but if you're elderly, too elderly, and you don't have, you're like, say you have dementia or something, you'll have to set a fiduciary. A lot of people don't know that, so if you're deemed mentally competent, you'll have to have someone who's in good financial standing, family member, whatever, they'll have to do a financial background check. The VA does their due diligence, obviously, to make sure that you can handle and manage this, your loved one's funds, properly, and they're not gonna be misused, so, getting all, yeah, these informational videos, there's gonna be a next one that we're gonna be editing. It's focused mainly on the intents, because that is honestly the most paperwork for any VA claim you're gonna do. So we try to break it down, you're gonna need all of your income and asset statements, you can't have $155,000 or more in assets, or you're not eligible. There's certain wartime periods that your loved one or you had to have served in. You had to have served during certain wartime periods and at least one day after duty service during those. So there's just so much eligibility that, and we try to break it down, like I said, we try to just jam the most important meat and bones of whatever topic we're talking about in the 2-minute, just dumb it down. Sure. So that's gonna be our next video, which, we're gonna.
May I ask, what have you learned? So this initiative has been going about 6 months, maybe.
Yeah.
We were sort of getting organized before that time. What's the biggest lesson you've learned? Is it the demographic to the message? What's the biggest takeaway you've learned so far?
I don't have like such a great answer. I feel like everything is kind of like playing out how I expected it to.
Okay,
I think the biggest thing for me was seeing, yeah, I guess what you're saying is that the demographics really are.
speak to the content. The
yes,
content speaks to
yeah,
demographic.
Like that was, I felt like that was gonna happen, but I didn't realize it was gonna happen so clearly and
Yeah.
effectively, so.
And guys, I'll ask you this and not to cross into the finance section. The budget is sufficient to the execution for this initiative that you're working. You feel comfortable with your spend and where you're going?
Yes.
For the buck 44 metric?
Yep.
The budget is, because we don't have, 6 years to look back on this, like the copier maintenance.
Right, right.
You guys, feel that this is a sufficient budget, and I bring that up. If you say, hey, maybe we do more with, maybe that's something we look at as you look at the budget, but
Yeah, I mean,
you're good, you're good for this initiative in this budget line item.
Roger, as a pilot program, yeah, I feel comfortable is what we're doing, yeah. Right.
Great work.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
stuff, guys.
Yeah.
And again, I think of it that wedge that's just,
Yeah.
just getting bigger by.
If you watch some of the videos, I'll be better about what you like.
Well, no, it's all
I
about,
don't like it, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the tone of my committee, unfortunately, I don't have any money.
Quite frankly, I don't know how that works. I'm learning in general.
well, no, I mean, it's amazing what, like I said, $70 can do with marketing on Facebook. But yeah, so any more questions on, for Tony or myself? regarding-
Great job, guys. Again, it's so refreshing and this is, this was articulated. What was our friend's name from Hamilton? This was one of the initiatives from 5-6 years ago. To see you guys, with the baton in your hand and running with it is just awesome. So thank you for these efforts. This is the essence of the next 20 years.
Thank you all for the support there. I mean, hasn't been easy, but.
Anything else on electronic initiatives?
No, I was gonna digress to something else again, you're probably gonna beat me.
No.
Right, yeah.
So, I just,
Cindy's gonna
it dawned on me when Linda mentioned the part about something monthly, so. If Steve is going to take and look at what he has for the budget in regards to Tony. And if there was something that has to go to the discretionary to be grabbed additional that at the excess there, we have to vote on it. But if we're not gonna meet again for 3 more months or next quarter or whatever it is, would we be able to, in our closed session, discuss and say, hey, we, of this X amount of dollars we have here, we can approve X amount if he has to go into that once he gets with Karen and looks at the budget and make sure he has enough funds to do that, so we don't hold up or we don't put something in an email to all of us that was not supposed to be done that way.
So I was gonna suggest we had an executive session call to talk about specifically costs for Steve. I hate to say this, but I think since we have a budget which is not eligible for executive session, I think we probably do need to have another meeting before July 1st. So
Okay.
that's the last line item. but-
Because I just didn't want it to go like.
No,
Kick the
can't.
can 90 days down the road and all of a sudden
That's
we're
not
like,
fair, that's not fair to anyone.
exactly, okay.
So,
So I just wanted to get that clear, that's all.
yeah, I think that's to set the next date, but I think we probably do need to just put a quick one on the books for an executive session in a budget. But I think there's a timing issue where we need to give Steve maybe a couple of weeks to get with Karen, we.
Yeah, no, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, I got that, okay.
I think that's the fairest and most judicious way to end. But I'll look for the board's input, so, okay, so the electronic initiative, again, awesome, guys, and I'm pumped to see where we are with likes and everything. Let's see where we are 6 months from now,
Yeah.
and with a content library that's growing.
Yeah.
Because your first stuff is still getting
Oh,
watched,
yeah,
right?
no, it's still on our Facebook, people can go back to our just quick videos, all of our videos will be linked, they can just continue to watch.
It's like a 24-hour VSO, you gotta watch out.
It really is, it really is.
Are you able to save those videos to like your district website, your office?
So we already posted the chapter 115 on our
Okay,
website.
great. So that's another resource. People can go to the website and watch the videos.
So the chapter 115, we thought that was because on our website, on Civics, it has chapter 115 design, but like tab, so we're like, oh, what better video to actually put up and test on.
Yeah, no,
Essex Plus.
where I was going with this is somebody doesn't necessarily have to be on Facebook.
Oh, no,
Right,
no, no, no,
yeah.
Yeah.
Go right to Civics Plus,
Yeah.
go on our
Go to your
website.
website,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
In my case, you have to ask my kids, how do you get on Facebook?
Well, we talked
I
about,
asked my wife,
That's right.
we talked about YouTube too, I think. So,
Yeah, so like, we're gonna,
how is that coming in the program?
well, like I said,
I forgot what we talked about.
we can establish and get all of our videos on Facebook first, and then, like I said, we can just transfer over.
To YouTube.
Every week, we can add one of our videos to that, just to slowly track the YouTube.
Isn't Facebook the better place though, because everybody is on Facebook, you have to go.
We can share more, I
And
mean,
you
it's,
can
it's,
share
yeah.
more. From
The
Facebook,
networking
you
is way
can
better.
share more.
Yeah, it's a
No,
social
no,
networking.
I'm saying-
In multiple places. YouTube, you have to go there and look.
Share, you can share on the button to like their email
Right.
address. their-
No, but
text
for
the link.
example, I follow the town of Newbury, and every single one of our meetings is put on YouTube, under the town of Newbury YouTube page.
Okay.
And I get notification, like when a new one gets posted, I get a notification and I just know to go if I wanna look.
Right, we don't have that, so,
It-
you know, I had started a Facebook page, so then I can share it throughout the box. I can get it to more places. 'cause
Right.
And Bob, what we had talked about is, let's start with this initiative, and
Right.
maybe there are other once you have the content,
Right,
maybe there's another platform we try and see if it's successful. So maybe it's.
TikTok's still alive soon,
TikTok.
once again, that's up in the air again.
and
I feel like every time we're meeting, TikTok's up in the air.
6 more months.
Actually,
I don't recommend it.
I would use it.
Actually, that's a really good plan. One of the things that I did learn also is that, Facebook Reels, they're really pushing Facebook Reels and with YouTube Shorts. Our videos don't particularly, since they're like 2 minutes is a little long for those. However, if we took specific lines that were like 15-second portions that like really stuck out to people and then said, for more information, go here, then, Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts would be great because they're about 1 cent per view rather than the 3 to 5 cents that we were, so.
I think you
the
go to
return-
the more elaborate one from those little snippets.
Exactly,
Yeah.
so that's one thing that I just
Just
learned
like you
earlier.
did.
It's like a lot going on online.
So that, yeah, that's just another way that I'm planning to expand when we do expand.
Right. So, you know, it's an exciting time, Bob. You know, the plan generally was, listen, let's get a core of the library going. Facebook seems to be the most functional, but, we don't want to, alienate or discriminate against any platform, but once you get the content, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, it's easy to go in other platforms.
Absolutely, share.
Anything else on the electronic and outreach initiative, anything conventional going on aside from you helping the normal bread and butter blocking and tackling stuff, Steve? Anything else, material, on the conventional outreach? No, okay. The next item is discussion of the VSO review. First of all, I'll start with the thanks for everyone, for getting their, evaluations in. Steve and I sat down, before the meeting, he was given a packet of everyone's review. And I have a brief executive summary that I'd like to share with the team. Overall, it was a, very good to excellent review across the board. You know, I think some of the highlights were, Steve and Tony are doing the conventional job. They're working on this exciting electronic, younger demographic. They've been working on getting the office humming. They've been, specifically worked on a number of qualifications that have enhanced the profitability to the towns as well as his, and the office's, effectiveness, if you will, to get claims directly in the hands of, different agencies. So, overall, a very, very positive, set of reviews. I think, we touched on the subject where, people had asked for maybe a little bit more interim, feedback. You know, one of the council members may say, well, how are things going? And, you know, if the board meeting was 3 months ago. So my spitball idea was just every 6 weeks, put out a few bullet points to the team, and we'll just remember not to reply to all. Yeah, but again, that's just my suggestion. But that was the one item that I saw in the overall package. that people were asking for. And, again, Steve, Craig Moran, that didn't seem like we didn't want to make it burdensome, but it didn't seem like an onerous, job. So overall, when you look at the average, Steve, received about a 4.6 overall on all 7 categories. And that was a slight, increase from last year. So the trend is positive. And I think the concept was, the overall concept in summary was doing a great job. And let's, keep the momentum.
Excellent.
Can I answer any questions on the review process? And I want to thank Linda and everyone else for not only the report, but for helping make it so streamlined. And I want to compliment Linda again. We did not have a good process 5 years ago. So I think our process and our timeline, everyone knows what's coming around the next corner. And I want to thank Linda for really pushing on that, because now it flows naturally to the new fiscal year.
Self-review, no, everything was,
Your self-review was excellent.
Yes,
thank
it was.
It
was very helpful.
It really was, and I understand that, you know, what the ask is for these interim little emails or whatever they might be. On the flip side, for you, I think in doing that, I think it would help. It would help me if I had to do it. Let's just put it that way. I'm not gonna speak for you, but if I had to do like a in-between meeting review on myself every time, then like at the end of the year, when I was gonna do my self-evaluation, I would go back and I would look at all of those. And it would really help me remember, oh yeah, that's right, back in February, we did this, or and I know you look at you smiling at me like, Dana, you're crazy.
add more extra work, it'll make fun.
Hey, when Salem, what did the guy say? More weight, more weight.
Oh, yeah, the EDI. I just saying, you just reminded me of our quarterly OER. Counseling, you know.
Absolutely. Don't need the in-between meeting inputs because my people don't ask me that kind of stuff, so I personally don't need it, but I'm
I
just.
would have them look at the Facebook page, and I would say, like their Facebook page, and you'll see, that's what you should.
Right, but I'm just trying to advocate both sides of that story.
And again, hear that comment, again, when you sit down with an evaluation, and I see this all the time professionally, you're doing a great job, but here's the 6 things you learned. Some people walk away from that and say, God, I really get along. No, this is a small thing that came out of the evaluation. Overall, it was a 4.6. The metrics speak to it, the numbers speak to it. So, Dana, how do we do it? I don't know, but maybe try it, Peter.
Yeah, just to put a finer point on it, it's not, I don't think, I personally am not looking for, comprehensive report. It's just, I'm not here. I don't see you, I don't see you guys unless I stop down, just to say hello on my way to a meeting upstairs, but it's just nice to know, what's happened over the course of,
You don't have one time to just go down and hang out?
So Linda, I don't want to word, but a few bullets is.
That's it.
Yeah.
The office did this or that. Yeah.
I'll do it, let's just get off this talk. I'll do it, like I said, fine, fine.
Fun
basketball games. Not applying all is just put everybody in the BCC line.
Yeah,
And
that's brilliant.
So it's a pretty easy thing.
Okay, any questions on the review process, the VSO input? Again, thanks for getting it in. Some years it's been real challenging to get this button, so.
Yeah.
So listen, this executive summary and is available to everyone along with the financial, with the score metrics. The process to let people give Steve comments in the evaluation with some confidentiality, where the whole package that he has is not available to him. So that way, Mr. Jones and Miss Williams can speak candidly in their evaluation. Obviously, Steve gets everything. We will then, Steve's gonna print it out and sign it. It is going to live upstairs with Mary.
Mary Gallagher.
Mary Gallagher?
Yeah.
Galvin.
Yeah.
So that's where it'll officially go. So again, that's the process. The piece that will be spoken to in next date, I'll get to, but, on item 8, just to be clear to the agenda, are there any items that we haven't gotten to that were not anticipated at the start of this, the publishing of the, agenda? So, item 9 is next date. To what Ron touched on, I think we do need a date. Steve, is it fair, say 3 weeks out plus?
Do I have to be, so I'm not executives.
Well, we need an executive session, but your budget, we need to see your budget.
Okay, so
work
we'll do
with
that and then you guys will.
Segue out. So I would ask, and again, that we do try and schedule something. Is 3 weeks enough for you to work with
28th?
Karen?
28th, that's next
yeah.
3,
20th
No.
20th of May?
yeah,
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
29th,
I can do the 29th.
Thursday, the 29th.
It's today Wednesday, I know
Today's
people like
Wednesday.
to do Wednesdays because it
Yeah,
gets people's work schedule and stuff and.
We're gonna do June 4th. Well, no, I'll be on my conference, so.
So the 29th, I'm hearing resonates somewhat.
I can do that. Let me just.
I'll say
That's Thursday.
May 29th.
That's a
Yeah,
Thursday.
it's a Thursday, not a Wednesday. But we gotta make sure the time, because Linda, you have your commute on certain
Yeah.
days, right?
6:30?
It's one of them, so 6:30 works.
6:30 is okay. So for now, 6:30, May 29th, a double session with Steve talking about a budget potential modification. And then an executive session to talk about Steve's springboard from evaluation to translate to the comp.
And we just said the 29th, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good with 29th.
Sherry's good any day, that's good.
Okay?
But not you, you can say that. You can show up.
She's good,
She's good on any day.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna say we're gonna say it aloud, 6:30.
6:30, because Linda's got her.
18:30.
18:30.
Thank you.
18:30.
Thank
yeah.
you.
My phone.
I got all mine's still.
Zulu, so what is it, Zulu time?
You should get my wife down.
Yeah, 1951.
I went to visit a friend and the neighbor was such a niggity guy. He had his wife or someone in the house bring him in. He had a bell. Now he did it as a joke, but
Wow, right.
now we're out. He would ring when he pulled up from, he was a civilian guy, he'd ring himself in. Well, guys, thank you. With that, I'll look for a motion for adjournment.
Uh,
Thank you everyone for your time. I know there's some good basketball on.